Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am doing my Gotta Think for Winter wrap up. If you don't know what Gotta Think for Winter is, it is a seasonal reading challenge I have been hosting the last few seasons. It was summer, autumn and now winter. There is 4 challenges for each month. So you're supposed to read 4 books for 1 month of the season, 3 months, 12 books. It's like an easy challenge and it's chill and it's fun and yeah. Announcement is that Gotta Think for Spring is not coming because I'm going away to Japan and I don't have a lot of books with me, so it'll be hard for me to find books to fit the different challenges I am getting because I'm not the one making them and I don't want to buy unnecessary books just to do these challenges. So it will be put on a pause and hopefully I will make Gotta Think for Spring next year. Sure, you all will survive because I'm pretty sure I was the only one doing it, which was like the whole point, but it's just like if anyone wanted to join then you could. Yeah, great. When I had wrap-ups I only mentioned that I read these books because I don't want to wrap them up twice. It's a few months ago since I read the first ones. It's fine, I've done it before, I will survive. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on any of them, if I'm too brief, then tell me down below and I can maybe make a full review of it if I have the time. Let's do it. Let's get into it. I need to look at my phone where the challenges are. So we start in December since that was the first winter month, and the first challenge was subscribe to PewDiePie, choose a book from PewDiePie's book reviews. For this challenge I even wrote in the description all the books he talked about in the book reviews, not in this video but in the challenge announcement thing for winter, so people didn't actually have to go and watch the videos if they didn't bother. I did great work for you guys. The book I chose was The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea by Yukio Mishima. This is a really short classic novel and it arrived like 3 days before December was over, by the way, so I was like yeah, I read it in one sitting and it's about a 13-year-old boy. I am looking behind it because I'm like, what actually happened in this book, because now I'm like, I got a whiplash. Who, I guess, watches his mother through this peephole in the house that they have, which is creepy in itself. And then she meets this sailor, so they are together for a few days and well, he can see it all through that peephole, just telling you. And then he goes away because, you know, he's sailor, he's only in the town for a few days, but he does return for a few days again. And the 13-year-old does not like that because he sort of put the sailor on this pedestal and make him like great because he was able to do what he wanted-ish, and now he ruined that by coming back. There's some themes in this that I understood but I didn't really understand because I'm probably not intelligent enough to understand it. It wasn't bad, it was really interesting. I had some really interesting thoughts and etc. The ending leaves you up like, oh shit, because the main character has this group of 13-year-olds. They go out and they think they're on this gang and they think they are really cool and they do some horrible shit, just telling you. And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? I think that I would probably understand more of the story if I knew more about Yukio Mishima. I don't know, I don't sit and research every single author I read. It's like, do people do that? If you do, then you're okay. I do that sometimes and I can do it if I'm specifically interested, but I am interested to pick up more of this author and then of course learn more about him. Has some really interesting, as I said, thoughts in here. It was ish philosophical but not really, and it was really easy to read. So if you want like something totally different and by a Japanese classical author, do you have something? I give it like 4 out of 5 stars because I did enjoy it a lot. I'm just a bit confused about the point of it, I guess, but it's fine. I don't know, let's go to the next one. I can't talk about books. That's not what I do. The next challenge was called Jingle Bells, Twilight Smells. Choose either a Harry Potter or Twilight book. I chose Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and I still hadn't read it, so I was like, this is my time to shine. It's an amazing Harry Potter book. This is where the story, I think, shifts from the 2 first ones, which are pretty similar to each other. The illustrations were beautiful. I just wish there were more of them, and I think that's why it took such a long time to get through the 4th one. And like getting the whole explanation behind the Prisoner of Azkaban, like in the end, is in the movie done so badly, I think. Like, I love the movie, but that part is just like, meh. Here we just get the whole thing and I'm like, this is interesting because the Prisoner of Azkaban, they think that he betrayed Harry's parents, but the background of the betraying is much more interesting here because they have this magical thingy thing and they just cut that out of the movie. That's like always been the thing I think about when I think about this book. It reads really quickly and it was great. The third challenge for December was called Let It Go, choose a classic fairy tale or a fairy tale retelling. I then chose to read Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This includes Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, so I read both of them in this nice little edition. I had never previously read Alice in Wonderland. I'm of course familiar with the story, how can you not be? It was exactly how I thought it would be, I guess. I mean, I was really confused throughout the whole book. This is like an insane book where just so much random shit happens, and in the end I'm like, wait, was it all a dream or wasn't it a dream? I still don't know. This one also had nice illustrations in it, so I really enjoyed those. For example, this one. Yay! Illustrations. It was whimsical, it was fun. Don't really understand all parts of it because I know the language really like going everywhere, but I understood of course what's happening, but are you supposed to understand what's happening is my question. I finally read it and I can say now that I read Alice in Wonderland and I feel really proud. I rated it 4 stars. Yay, great. Oh my god. The last challenge for December was stay comfy, don't cry, choose a book with an animal as the main character. And I chose If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura, also a Japanese author. So the thing is, I read another cat book which also had a Japanese author, not the same one, for my autumn challenge, and there the cat was the main character. You had it from the cat's perspective, it was really nice. This one, the cat is not the main character. Cats are mentioned and the main character has a cat, but the cat is not the main story. So I sort of failed this, but well, there's a cat on the cover. It was a really short book. The story didn't bring that big of an emotional punch that you would want for this kind of story, I feel like. So I like the other cat book more, but I guess I shouldn't really compare them, but it was sort of similar. So yeah, anyways, this follows a young man who finds out that he's gonna die in a few days, or like on that day, that's his last day. And then the devil comes and offers him a deal. You get another day to live, but something will disappear from the world. And he chooses different things each day, and then eventually arrives at cats, because that's the title. I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought it would. It was okay, but still really liked it, and it was really fast and an enjoyable read. I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. We are now in January, and the first challenge for January is New Year, New Me. Reread a book you didn't like last year, reflect on it. Why didn't you like it in the first place? Do you like it more after rereading it? In 2017, I picked up Umberland by Bendy Spinon, and then I reread it because that was the challenge, because I didn't really enjoy it. This is the sequel to Everland. I didn't really remember Everland when picking up Umberland the first time, so I reread Everland, and then I listened to the audiobook of Umberland. I even finished the whole series and listened to the audiobook of Osland as well. I talk about Osland and Everland in my January wrap-up, but I can talk about a bit about this one and comparing my thoughts of the first time reading it. I think the thing that put me off at first when coming into the story is that they are in this place and they say they have been there, I think, for a year, at least like many months, and I'm like, wait, what? It's been such a long time, and then like all these things had changed, like so many elements had changed, and they were like, everyone is dying, and I was like, wait, what? Because we ended Everland as I had remembered in my head. This is before my reread, that like things were going for the better thing, but now everything is just worse. So I guess like, of course, that's an interesting choice. Okay, things are worse, but then we're going to like, of course, resolve these things, but they go through hell. So reading this first time, I was like, okay, it was a fun quest story, now it's over, it's okay. But thinking about it later, I didn't really enjoy it because it's more about like action scenes and frequencies than making the story better. And now rereading it, I did enjoy it more because I had just reread Everland, I was going into Umberland, I was in the mood for this story. I actually enjoyed Everland less than the first time, and I enjoyed this a bit more. Like, I gave it 1 bump up of a star. The whole series is a bit itching me because so many characters keep dying off page. They do all these things to save of them, and then they just die in like a sentence, and I'm like, what was the point of everything? But I don't mind characters dying, like, Jesus, I love Game of Thrones, but here it died in such a meaningless way. But the first time I read, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I really gave it like 3, and then I put it down to 2, and now I gave it 3 again, because the audiobook was quite good. So if you want to check out these, I recommend checking the audiobooks out, actually. I think that they are fun retellings that you can have a lot of fun with, but there were so many frustrations for me. Thank you for the New Year, New Me challenge, really great, but I did get to finish the series, so I guess that's something. The next challenge is New Year's resolutions. Choose a book you wanted to read last year, but 2018 was over before you knew it, so you didn't have enough time to read it. The book I read for that challenge was Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor, and this was so amazing. When I think about it, I just want to cry because it was so good. This follows Lester Strange, who grew up as an orphan. He has always had this obsession with a city named Weep, but it's not named Weep because the name disappeared from his tongue suddenly one day. The city named Weep was a city that disappeared suddenly. He researched it and like picks up scraps and legends in different things, and then just collects all this information in these books of his, and it's amazing. And we also follow other characters living somewhere else. They have abilities, to say it like that, and they are blue and they are amazing. And there's just so many elements to this story. Oh my god. Writing is, by the way, beautiful, but I can understand if some people do not enjoy it. But the characters are amazing. The journey, the mystery, guys. It's like, what happened to the city? What happened to these people? And why? Why? That is the question. And it gets answered so well in Stranger Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, the sequel. I read this and I sat like this the whole time, because it was the most wondrous adventure, and I get goosebumps thinking about it. I want to listen to the audiobook because I want to hear these words spoken to me. I want to relive this story and cry, and just masterpiece of storytelling. And I'm in awe of the brains that it took to write this. 5 out of 5 stars. Read it. Read it if you're in a hesitant. Read it. Read it if you didn't enjoy the first 150 pages. Just read it. I don't care. If you're bored, just read it. And then next challenge for January was fireworks. Choose a book with colored edges or with a shiny sparkly cover. I chose the book Girl of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. I have the colored pink edges because I got it in my fairy loot, and I heard so many great things about this, so I wanted to pick it up. I had misunderstood a few times what this book was about because I didn't actually like read about it properly. Sorry to people and myself. It's an Asian-inspired fantasy, and it follows Lei, who is forced to become the king's paper girl. And paper girls are a group of girls that basically are there for the king's pleasure. He fucks them against their will, at least against the will of the Lei, the main character. Some of the other girls are more like, this is our duty, but is it consensual when he has all this power? Because he's the demon king and they can't say no, which Lei learns in this story. Trigger warning for rape and sexual assault, forced into this horrible life, but it is also sort of beautiful and elegant, but she knows in her heart that this is not good. She also meets this other girl named Ren, and they get a thing, and it's super cute. FF romance, oh yay. I enjoyed this a lot. First, when I heard about it, I was like, I don't want to read that. But later, when you really know what the story is about, it sounds so much more interesting, which was what made me really excited for it. I think that some parts were a bit dragged out. There was a lot of like lessons and eating and like really like slow moments, but I'm not saying that I crave action all the time, but it was just a bit slow sometimes. It dragged a bit. For the most part, it was super entertaining and I enjoyed really all the parts. I just felt like the story could have been a bit more upbeat, which sounds so awful considering what the themes in this book are, but I didn't mean it like that. I hope you know that. My voice is dying on me. It was a tiny bit like predictable in the end because they have this plan and we all know that that plan is not gonna work out. That I loved about the main character is that she wasn't necessarily like, oh, I need to have a sword and be awesome and kick ass. She was strong in her own soft way and I really enjoyed that. She was soft but strong because you can be strong without having a bow or swinging a sword. Yay. Gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it a lot. The next challenge is that month choose a book where the main protagonist, mom or dad or guardian is dead or dies. Nice challenge. The book I read for this was Legend by Marie Lu just because I knew that June's parents, the main character's parents, were dead, but well, they weren't the only one who died. And it's not even a spoiler because it says on the back and I was just like, wait, what? So this follows Day, who is like a really wanted criminal because he can do like insane shit. He's a prodigy and he can go around, jump on buildings, and he has done a lot of things against the government in this republic place because this is America, but the future because it's dystopia. June is like a perfect prodigy in the society. Her brother is really high in the army and she has a lot of respect, you know, because of that, and she like gets perfect scores on the things she does and she's really talented. The same with Day. He's living in the slums and like away because, well, he's wanted. And then he kills her brother, so her guardian died as well. Perfect for the challenge. Depressing, but perfect for the challenge. And June goes after him and then realizes that not everything is as it seems. Really predictable in that way, but they fall for each other in 2 days. Great again. So it really falls under the classic YA. This is an old YA book, like into love in a few days, and then the dystopia part is like, oh, things are like this and this, but then it's not really like that and that. Exactly the same as all the other dystopias I read, not the same literally world, but how they figure things out. And that was the reason I got a bit tired of the genre, because it was the same. But it's a long time since I read a dystopia. I enjoyed it still, like I really enjoy the genre. It's just a bit like, oh, we're reeling, this isn't supposed to be like this and they really did that on purpose, and I'm like, oh no kidding dude. It was fine. I wasn't mind blown or anything. It was fine and entertaining, and I want to read the rest of the series. I want to read Marie Lu's book still, but it wasn't like my new favorite. So I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. We are now in February. My voice is dying. Why did this happen? The first challenge for February was Forever Alone. Choose a diverse LGBTQ+ book featuring a person of color character or written by a person of color author for plus points, but mostly just pick a choose diverse LGBTQ+ book. I picked up Darius the Great is Not Okay by Abid Khorram. I thought it was gonna be an LGBT+ book. It is put under that genre on Goodreads, but the LGBT parts of this book were not really that present. Like, there are characters in this book that I mentioned that are LGBT, but other than that, there wasn't any. So did I fail? I don't know. Either way, this book was actually amazing. I gave it 5 stars and I cried like a baby reading it. It follows Darius, whose family is from Iran, his mom's family. His father is white, and they find out that his grandpa is sick, so they go to Iran to be with the family for a few weeks. Darius has like a lot of inner struggles. He has depression and he has all these thoughts about his dad and how his dad doesn't accept him. So they have a really complicated relationship throughout the whole book. There's just so many good bits of relationship around him. Like, he is so complicated, has complicated emotions towards his family because he doesn't speak the same language as them, but his sister does, so she relates to them in the other way than he does, and he just feel like he can't relate. Can he talk to them? But then he realizes that he can, and he loves them so much, but he doesn't know how to explore that. There is so much food in this, by the way. It was awesome. There's just so many good relationship elements in the family here that I am just my mind blown. He also meets Sorab, who is like his first true fan. He feels like he really can talk to him, and he has never had that before, like talking to someone without them sort of looking down upon him and thinking that he's weak. He has depression, as I said, and people keep asking him, but are you sad that something happened? And he says, no, it's just chemicals in my brains. I don't have a specific reason to be sad, I just am. And I think like that can be depression for many people. He really like has an emotional roller coasters throughout the whole book. It's so authentic and real, and it's a really well mental health story. But the LGBT part, I'm not sure. Like, I thought that Sora and Doris was gonna get a thing, but that didn't really happen. They were just great friends. So I'm so confused where the LGBT thing came in here. It's like his dad's has two moms, so that is where it came in there. But like, that's nothing wrong with this story. That's just me, I guess, not doing enough research for the story, but I didn't want to get spoiled, dang it. There was so much more I could say about this story because I enjoyed it so much. I cried on this part in the end with his dad and Doris had this conversation, and it just really got my heart. There was so many like small and important things in this. It's such a well-written family and friendship story with all the great mental health wrap in it, and the author himself has had the same kind of depression, so it's an own voice story in that regard. I felt like I got also to see a totally other type of family than I'm used to seeing in stories, and that was also great. And this book is so recommended for anyone, really anyone. The next challenge is called Honga Hoshi, which means I want books basically in Japanese, and it was to choose a hype book that was released last year, like 2018, and I chose The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which was really hyped. I listened to the audiobook of this. The narrative was really good. I think she just really got emotion through, and I was like oh my god. This follows Jude, and her parents are killed by a fairy when they are kids, and he brings them to fairyland. Sorry, it sounded really funny. He basically raised them, and she grows up in the fairyland, basically has to survive in this world where people look down upon her because she's human, and they are so much better than her because humans, they just die and wither away, and fairies are forever, and they have beautiful hair. She loves them, but she hates them, and there was like so many emotions going inside June. She has a lot of struggles. Did I say June? I meant Jude all the way. I hope I said Jude, I don't remember. And there is this one certain dude that is in her class named Prince Carden. He's one of the fairy princess, and he's there. I was waiting for like a big plot twist. I had all these theories while reading, and they were all wrong, by the way. Well, some of them were sort of correct, but some of them were really wrong. There's a lot of backstabbing and plots going on here, and Jude is a really intense character. I don't think we're supposed to like love her. We're supposed to question her choices, but she's intense, but sort of great. I thought she was hilarious because she had some great things going on. I think the ending left you wow, and I think I will enjoy the next book a lot. Still, I didn't love this book. I thought I would love it, but I liked it a lot, so I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Looking forward to see where the story goes after this. The next challenge is called Chunka Shuto, and it is to choose a book that represents either spring, summer, autumn, or winter on the cover or in the synopsis. For that, I read Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. There is sun in the title. Summer! This book was really sweet. It follows Natasha, who believes in science and facts, as it said here. Her family has been deported back to Jamaica tonight, and she's trying to go out and stop it. And then we have Daniel, who is like the good son in the family, and his parents expect him to be a doctor, but he wants to be a poet. They meet, and there's this whole element in the story about destiny and how things are meant to be. We also have a perspective for people around them that they meet and encounter. We get their sort of background and see how you can impact people's lives without realizing it at all, and it feels so authentic. Why do I get goosebumps? I don't even know. Natasha's also black, and Daniel, his family is from Korea. None of them are white. Oh my god. Great. I have this quote here which I wanted to read from the book because it really resonated with me and I wanted to read it if I can find it. So Natasha says this: "How come you call yourself Korean?" she asked after a few more sips. "Weren't you born here?" And then he answers, "Doesn't matter. People always ask me where I'm from. I used to say here, but then they ask me where you're really from. And then I say Korea. Sometimes I say North Korea and that my parents and I escaped from a water dungeon filled with pariahs where Kim Jong-un was holding us prisoner." She doesn't smile like I expect her to. She just asks me why I do that. "Because it doesn't matter what I say. People take one look at me and believe what they want." As a person who looks Asian and was born in China but has grown up in Norway all my life, I have met people who really do ask me, "But where are you from?" And I say Norway because I am from Norway. I grew up here, and they are always like, "Yeah, but where are you really from?" Which is, by the way, such an offensive question. Don't ask people that. What the hell? Anyways, so I really related to Daniel and like some of the things he had experienced and thought about in that regard. That's why I wrote this down, because it really captured the feelings that I have had previously. That was my phone. That I have had previously in the same type of experiences. I think that one of the reasons Nicola Yoon became an author was because her husband is Korean and she is black herself, and she wrote Everything and the main character there is half Asian, half black, and she wanted to write a story where her daughter could see herself in stories, and that's why she writes these kind of stories with, you know, not white MCs. She did that for me. I related. I saw myself in a bit of Danielle, and I think a lot of other people can too, because people are rude. And I think that was done really well here. There was also like the whole love story, which was so convincing. There is insta-love in here, but it's convincing insta-love because it's this whole destiny thing. And it was great, and the ending was so sweet, and I really enjoyed this, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And I am really looking forward to see the movie because I think it would be great and super sweet. And yeah, there was also like scientific parts of this which were nice. Like sometimes it was there and I was like, ooh, I'm learning stuff if it's, you know, real. The last challenge was called Game of Thrones: reread or read a book from the Song of Ice and Fire series before the last season arrives. So technically you had more time on this than like normally. Like you could keep reading this until the season arrives in April. You don't need to finish it now in February, but I did because, you know, poop. I have been planning to read the series for quite a long while. I have never actually read it in English, only in Norwegian. So here I went and read Game of Thrones, the illustrated edition, because, well, I had this and if I was gonna read it, of course I would read this one. This was a pain to hold and read it because it's enormous, but it's fine. I remember the story really well because I watched the first season a billion times, and this is the first season. Like, you get more details and you get more time to process everyone and everything, of course, but it's exactly like it, and I love that. I love that it was so accurate, and then it wasn't that anymore, but I don't want to think about that. It was great. I love it. Game of Thrones is one of my favorite series on TV. Song of Ice and Fire is one of my favorite book series. Give it 5 out of 5 stars. Don't need to talk about the plot. Don't need to, because you know. If you don't know, then it's fine. I just think that actually it could have been written better, but it doesn't mean that I don't love the story still. I just feel like the writing is not my favorite, actually. I mean, it's quite old now, so I don't know how he writes now because I haven't read anything recently by him. That was it, I think, for this wrap-up. Probably lasted forever, but that's fine. And you will see me soon in a new video. Sorry for no Got a Thing for Spring, but I hope to do that next year if I still remember or want to. Yay! Want to talk about books in the comments or any of these, then do, and bye!